What can one teach? What is there to teach? I mean, what can teach being? One can teach the mind. Mind is full of desires and wanting and needing. Full of investigation. So mind can be taught anything it wants. And it can appear as if it thinks it's growing, it can appear as if it thinks it's failing or succeeding, it can appear as if it thinks it is super intelligent, it can think about all the things that it has taught itself to think. Because mind is a recycling pot of ideas and concepts and thoughts and hopes and beliefs, and it creates all these things. And then it believes that it knows all these things. It is such an intelligent energy, a force not to be reckoned with, by itself. But what can one teach the being? So is there a difference between being and, let's say, mind, human? Well, human mind is here representing the being. The being is the being is your true original you that sits here and exists. Nothing else to know, nothing else to do, nothing else that one can participate in. In fact, you don't even know that you exist. But there is a sense of existence. Because it's the mind that knows it exists. Because the mind clarifies to the being, you exist. So the being, in full trust and acceptance and faith, says, okay, so get on with it. The mind creates a vessel, a body. The mind creates imagination, creates thoughts, creates physical objects, creates ideas, creates concepts, creates methods, practices, names, identities. The mind creates every single thing that the mind is capable of creating. Why? To reflect the being state. You are here as being with a added flavor from mind, a connection, an umbilical cord between you and mind, you and human. You had an umbilical cord from your mother. It was cut. You're separate in this outside world. Your internal invisible cord can never be cut. It's never cut. Unless spirit itself, you are able to convince a mind to start being so intelligent that I want to disconnect you from all life forces. You can disconnect me from this physical life force. You can disconnect me when you take this body away, Mr. Mind. And then you disappear yourself onto another body. But you cannot disconnect me, whatever I am, from source, from myself, from my wholeness, from my oneness. You cannot teach the being. And those that teach the mind are versions of mind, again enhancing its own mind through a supposed universal mind. The universal mind is the beingness. The individual mind is the ego. So the ego can communicate through ego. Because even though our umbilical cords are cut, we have a communication system, a method, a sensory activity. We can speak, we can see, we can create through telepathic ways. We can create through satellite dishes. This will be uploaded, and I don't know where it goes. Through Wi-Fi. You know? So that's our mind. The mind, when it experiences its dissolution and only the beingness remains, cannot discuss it with anything, even itself. It just thinks, wow, I have to believe the mind. Because I know nothing, I understand nothing. But I remember the mind said, I exist, I am. So therefore, I am still here. That's all I know. That's all I know is. Until the mind resurfaces, that one cannot speak, cannot discuss, cannot share anything about any new activity, experience, or any old activity or any experience that one becomes demented, Alzheimer's, whatever, for a period of time. That is why most that experience a complete annihilation of mind, that beingness is completely separated, hanging from the strands of the internal umbilical cord, where in a circular fashion everything is connected. It hangs on for life. And that's when the enlightened one disappears. In the caves, in the Himalayas, in the forest, wherever one can go. You don't have to physically disappear, but you cannot cope with a life of cars. Oh, gee. Because you're going to face some sort of accident. So therefore, the enlightened, that seeker of enlightenment, that mind that wants to seek who it truly serves, has to disappear and go right in the back of the class, miles and miles away, in case it faces such a traumatic end, until the beingness is left alone. And this emptiness, this nothingness, this peace, this tranquility, until the two merge again, until there is some sort of balance, some sort of Buddha nature over a long period in our human mind-based world of time. They can resurface together and become one. And this is the experience of non-duality. This is when there is no knowledge about what took place. There is a mind that looked from miles in the distance through a telescope, trying to reconnect the dots, try to make up. And therefore, when the saint or the guru or the one that is enlightened, that beingness mind, that pure conscious mind, tries to describe what it is, it has to use information, it has to use utterings or illogical ways, because it's incapable of describing what it is. So for the beingness is the beingness. And a teacher comes on and has to make a decision. Am I going to speak about the mind, and therefore inform the mind, and then engage with the mind, and then enhance another mind to think it in a further way, in a expanding way, to help it grow? Because teachers can do this until in a kind of cruel to be kind way. Try and fill your mind to its capacity so that you have no choice but to explode. Or the teacher can sit in silence and try and engage with the being state that you are. And this is done through the eyes, through the beingness, through the aura, through just the presence. And it's the presence that meditates. There's no me and you meditating. The presence is meditating within itself. There is an idea that something is taking place. But it's not here to be manipulated, controlled, understood. It's just taking place. And something within this that I appear to be, and something out with that I appear to be, feels as if it's part of it. And sometimes feels as if it disappears. And sometimes feels as if it is the whole of it. And it's this movement, this transition, this meditation, where there's a loss of control, a loss of mind, a loss of thoughts, a loss of imagination, a loss of expectations, a loss of composure, a loss of happiness, a loss of anger, a loss of suffering, a loss of pain, a loss of whatever I am. And the loss expands as if it is the abyss, the pure, tranquil, limited, limitless, infinite love or consciousness or whatever the mind can explain after the meditation. Meditation is to be present, is to be here, is to be now, is to be full of mindlessness. And when the mind is empty, there is a letting go, a surrendering to that what is beyond mind. Teaching is not to say do it this way, do it that way. Teaching is to say you are the way. Everything you do is part of the way. Even the meditation is happening as it's meant to happen. That mind will try and put things in front of you like a phone ringing, or an image of light, an angel, to try and stop you escaping the suffering. But you're stronger than that, you see. Whatever you are is much more disciplined. God didn't make fools. Christ didn't come here to convince ants or spiders to do something miraculous. It's through God's trust, Christ's trust, that you are here and that you're able to fully discover the undiscoverable, yourself. Meditate on emptiness. Be present. This is only teaching. Be present. Be in the core of yourself. Be in the midst of that empty space between thoughts, between breaths. But let the thoughts and the breath come, and be grateful as they pass unattached. They're not necessary. You are the creator of all. You are the creator of your own consciousness, your own beingness. You are the creator of the mind that reflects you. If it's reflecting you poorly, it's just an idea. It's just a thought that's off track. As Christ says, there is only one way. Your name is I Am. And I Am is the way. Namaste Om. Teach yourself by exploring your own present beingness. And let the mind be. Let life be. As that what it is.